put together for you guys is a presentation on using QR codes in your classroom. And what it is just teaching you different ways on how to put together and make QR codes, and then different ways that you can actually implement them and use them in the classroom. So it's really easy. Quite honestly, had I realized how easy it was, I probably would have been doing it a long time ago. So first thing that I thought that we would do is just learn how to make a QR code. So if you brought an iPad or a device with you that you can use to make a QR code, great, we'll get it out. If not, I have extras just in case so everybody can have one, because you're going to need it for an activity that we'll do later. So it says making a QR code is as simple as copying and pasting your desired link into a QR code maker website and then letting it create the code for you. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is to go to qrcodestuff.com, and you can either go type it into the website, or if you already have a QR code reader, you can actually read that code right there, and it will pull up the website for you. So either one, because I created it. So this is an actual QR code linked off of the website. Yep, it's qrstuff.com. You shouldn't have to, but you can try. Of course, I said that, and it should work, but if I zoomed it in too big. Well, and I may have tried zooming or expanding it too big, and it may have distorted it. So there we go. I guess maybe a little trial and error tells us that we can't distort the codes too much. So
is the computer going to work, or do I need an iPad?
You will probably need an iPad. Let me give you one. We'll see now as I'm learning and going along. We'll learn that. What's wrong? Always good for a video, huh? All right. Here's one for you. And I have actually been learning about making QR codes as I've been creating this presentation and doing so. I'm learning as I go and been trying to kind of play around with it as I've been learning and going along. So I guess this is learning for me as much as it is for you guys, that I made a QR code off of this website. I put it on my presentation, but then I blew it up. I made it bigger, and when I made it bigger for the presentation, it distorted it. Distorting it obviously made it to where we couldn't read it, so something to keep in mind if you use it in your classroom. If you try to blow it up and make it bigger for the kids to be able to read, it's going to distort it. So lesson learned, huh? All right. Now you won't make the same mistake that I did. All right, so is everybody at that website?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So when you go to that website, you will be able to see that. Let me just pull one up here on my iPad. When you go to the website, it truly is as easy. If you look on the far left-hand side of the website, you can see all the different things that you can code. And it's anything from websites to videos. There is an entire list, and it's a rather long list of things that you can code for your students to see. So what you want to do is you want to select what it is that you're coding, and then next in the middle, step 2, it tells you to just put in the link. And that is going to allow you to copy and paste or just type in the link that you want the code to connect to. So for me, I would have just typed in the www.qrstuff.com because that's the link that I wanted it to take you to had I not screwed it up. All right? And then the next option is going to be the third one. And then as soon as you type it in, it's going to start changing your code preview, or that you see off to the side. It's going to start changing that immediately as soon as you type it in. It's going to start personalizing the code for you. Then you can change the color, You can change, I mean, you can personalize it any way that you want. You can, change the color of the code. You can change the design of the code. There's a lot of different things that you can do. All right? I like to keep it a basic, simple code like this. You can put pictures in the middle of it. I mean, just starting out, I like to keep it simple. All right? And then right underneath the sample preview of what your code looks like, you just click on download, and it downloads it straight to your computer. And it is that easy. You're done. Now, if it was on your computer, it would download it, and then it would save it as like a preview. And when I saved it as a preview, then I just took that preview and I saved it as a file, and I saved the name of the file. Like as the file, I would have said qrstuff.com, and I actually would tell myself the name of the QR code is the name of the website, so I knew specifically what website that QR code was taking me to. Just made the connection easy for me. So when I have a file on my computer of QR codes, I just look at the name of the code and it tells me the name of the website, and I just pull up that code as I need it. Okay? So far so good? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well, I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Sorry, this might be your question, but is there a better reader or reader than others, or it doesn't matter?
I think they all pretty much work the same. The one that I use, I can tell you real quick. The one that I was using, it just is called QR Scanner, and it says scanner and barcode reader, and it says free right there. Yep, and it's free, but I mean, I think they all pretty much are going to work the same. But I think they're all going to pretty much work the same. It's going to scan it, and then it's going to save a history of what you scanned. So you can go back through and look at the history, and you can see all the previous codes that you've scanned over time. Okay? So if you're like, oh, what was that one? You can go back through your history, and you can re-look at them. Go back through. Okay? All right, so moving on. All right, so as I said before, and you saw, said before, and you saw on the left-hand side of that website, you can code a ton of different things. You can code websites. You can code YouTube videos, which is technically also a website, but it codes them directly to the website, directly to a specific video. So if you're wanting them to watch a video about a special or a specific character trait, you just pull up, or you just give them that code. You say, all right, I need you to sit down and watch this character trait and then answer a few questions for me. And they sit down and they code it rather than having them try to search for the character trait or go to YouTube or pull up this or pull up that. It takes them directly to it. It eliminates all the guesswork for the kids. You can also code maps. So if you want them to try to go to a specific place on a map or a certain area, you can code and it will pull up a map and it'll pull up a specific location on a map. So, I mean, there are a lot of different things that you can put QR codes to. So if it has a link on the internet, you can pretty much code it. So, all right? All right. The next thing I put, which I think we've all kind of surpassed this, is that you will need a QR code reader installed on your device. That is one thing here at El Paso we're going to struggle with until next year rolls around, is having enough devices that have cameras to be able to read. But I think once we get that refresh next year, we're going to be able to just run with this. So I kind of thought if we could do this training now, get prepped for it the end of this year and through the summer, we can really hit the ground running for next school year. So this is the one that I use. Like I said, it's QR code reader and scanner. I think they are all going to work, just fine. They're all going to work about the same, but that's the one that I use. They're free. I would not suggest paying for one because the free ones are going to work just fine. So that's the one that I went to. And like I said, then you can change the color. it's the same. It's just another code, but I just changed the background color of it. So it's there. So of course I had to do something fun and cheesy. So I said QR code maker plus a QR code reader equals fun in the classroom, because you can start getting the kids up and about and moving around and doing things. Some examples of this, all right? You are limited only by your imagination. You can do classroom scavenger hunts. I have seen ideas where they put QR codes all over the classroom, and you give the kids a sheet that is nothing but questions. And they have to go around and start scanning the codes to be able to answer the questions. And they have no idea what codes match what questions, but they have to be able to just be up and about and walking around. You can do it with partners, or they can do it individually. They may have to have headphones with their iPads to be able to do it, or with their iPod. You know, you have first grade has those iPod touches with their iPods, because they have to listen to videos to be able to answer the questions. I mean, or listen to books on tape or songs or whatever. So I've seen scavenger hunts. I've seen story centers, where instead of having, you know, a bunch of pillows and books in a corner, now they have a bulletin board with pillows. And with the bulletin board is filled with QR codes that leads the kids to nothing but a bunch of online stories, where the kids get to listen to the stories and just sit and listen with headphones rather than sitting and reading the book. You know, because the kids are reading and all of a sudden they start talking and they're playing with the books and goofing around instead of actually reading them. Where here they put the headphones in, they scan the book, and all of a sudden they're reading it, or they're watching a digital version of it on the iPad. So I've heard of that. We've got those kids that I'm through. What do I do now? I've heard of teachers that will create an individual folder for each kid based on their ability level, and have created worksheets or activities for them that take them off to web pages or searches that are based, and it takes a lot of pre-prep work, but once it's set up and going, then it's easy, you know. So you've got a folder that's full of activities and lessons. All they need to do is go and grab an iPad and grab their folder, and it's full of lessons and things for them to do with research or whatnot online that is based on each kid's individual level. And it's just maybe 5 or 10 minutes of work, and they do a little bit, and they work on that until everybody else is caught up. They put it away, and they can pick back up again where they left off next time. There's partner shared research, which we're going to do a little bit of here in a little bit. That's what I did in my workshop when I went to the Maze conference in Manhattan, and it was fun. I really liked it. It was kind of cool. So I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I want you to experience it. And then, but like I said, there's so much more. There's a lot more. If you go to Teachers Pay Teachers, there's a lot of stuff that you can pay for that's actually pretty cheap, but there is a ton of free stuff that's already made. All you have to do is just download it and print it and have it ready. You know, the one thing you have to remember is with QR codes, if you laminate it to save it, so it really, you run the risk of lamination causing a glare, and it makes it a little bit harder for the kids to read it because it'll cause a glare with the camera. So just something to keep in mind. Maybe putting it on construction paper or cardstock rather than lamination. Where they just pull it out, scan it, and then stick it back in.
Yeah.
Yep. So just some of those things can cause a little bit of problems especially for the younger kiddos who might not be able to manipulate it as well. So, but I even went on Pinterest and found a ton of things that led you to different websites, and so it's, the resources out there are so much more than I thought there ever would be. So anyway, that's it. And then, of course, I've got my standards that I have to list. So, but that's it.